guys, and welcome back to Tutorbox in conjunction with the COVID-19 catch-up courses. So we're going to start our second lesson. I really hope the first one you actually learned something. But today we're going to go on with the session 2. Those of you who've only started watching now, I am MJ. I'm going to be your Afrikaans tutor. There's definitely one session that you missed, but there will be reruns. So don't stress. You can just complete this one. I really hope all you guys are well and safe, especially during this time, and that you're actually coping with the lockdown. I think I get a little bit crazy, but at least I have online tutoring just to keep me sane through this. Okay, but let's not waste any time. Let's start with... Okay, so we're going to start with beantwoording van die leesbegripsvrae, graad 11 en graad 12. Okay, so we're going to start with comprehension tests. Okay, so I know you guys are grade 12, but grade 12 and 11 is almost on the same page at this moment in Afrikaans. The only thing that differs is the comprehension itself would be a bit more complex for you guys, but the terms stay the same. How you answer it stays the same. It's just the difficulty of the story that would differ. Okay, so daar is 3 belangrike stappe wanneer jy 'n begripstoets beantwoord, naamlik. Okay, so there's 3 important steps that you have to keep in mind before answering a comprehension test. Stap 1. Vluglees die vraag en soeklees dan die teks. Okay, so you're firstly going to go to the questions, read them, and then you go to the text, but you're just going to read some things. Then, stap 2, lees die teks nou vir die tweede keer en maak aantekeninge. Okay, so now you go to the text again, and you read it, every word, and then make little notes for yourself next to the word, or underline and draw lines and everything. Step 3, beantwoord nou die vraag, okay? So step 3, now you go to the questions and you answer them. Okay, so those 3 steps are very important just to keep in mind. When I was at school, I would usually go and read the comprehension 3 times and then go to the questions. But then I have forgotten what I actually read and I got bored, and then I didn't do so good. But if you follow these steps, I promise you, you will just keep saying, and then you switch between paragraphs so you don't get bored with what you read. So firstly, start with the questions. Look what they want, because if you know what they want and you go back to the text, you know what to look for. Okay, so then you go to the questions, go back, and just do spot checks. Who wrote it, and then you go read the comprehension, and then only you can answer the question. Okay, so ons begin met stap 1. Soeklees die teks en vluglees dan die vraag. Okay, so we're starting with step 1. Okay, soeklees die teks om 'n breë oorsig oor die inhoud te kry. Okay, so they're saying that you firstly have to go to the questions and then you go to the text, but you just spot read the text so that you can just get a idea of what the text is about. Okay, so how you do this is you start with die titel van die teks. Okay, you start with the heading. Okay, read what the heading says, and that will most likely tell you what is happening in the comprehension. Then, opskrifte en subopskrifte. Okay, so now you go after the heading, you see if there's specific paragraphs that has headings as well, read those. Dan, die auteur van die teks. Okay, so now you go and search for who wrote this text. Is there someone that wrote this? Is it someone that said this? Who is it? Dan, uit watter bron die teks geneem is. Okay, so then you go and look where they found this text. Is it uit 'n huisgenoot? Is it from the television? Where did they find this? Dan, die inleidingsparagraaf. Dit skep soms 'n bepaalde atmosfeer en skep soms die agtergrond vir die teks se inhoud. Okay, so then you go to the introduction. the paragraph. So there it most likely will give you the type of atmosphere that will go through the whole comprehension. And then they will just maybe give you a little bit of a background to whatever they're going to say further in the comprehension. Then sleutelwoorde en begrippe wat met die titel, opskrif en subopskrifte verband hou. Okay, then you go and read. Do you see the same words that you saw in the heading? If you do, underline or circle it or do something like that just to remind yourself that they are there. Hoofgedagtes wat met die titel en opskrifte en subopskrifte verband hou. Okay, so now you have the word. Just go read that sentence and just see if that sentence isn't maybe a head sentence, like it is the main part of that paragraph. Then, vreemde en moeilike woorde. So go underline all the words that you don't understand. Okay, so then you can just go back to it and look it up in the dictionary. Otherwise, you're not going to understand the comprehension. Then, die slotparagraaf. Dit som dikwels die hoofidee, kernboodskap, hooftema van die teks op. Okay, so then you go to the last paragraph. There it would most likely just sum up everything that happened in the text. So then you can get a good idea as what happened. Okay, so step 1 is really important, and it would make the test so much easier if you just do step 1 right, okay? So just go, underline, make little notes, always do the title, the author, where they got it from, because all those things give you a little bit of information that would help you to answer the questions in step 3. Like where they got the text. If it's at huisgenoot, then you know it's an article. Or if it says beeld, then you know that it's a news article. Okay, so it's facts. It really happened or something like that. Okay, so please do step 1. Just go through it, underline, use different colors and all. Okay, so now we're going to look at what is the difference between vluglees and soeklees. Okay, vluglees. Om vinnig deur die teks en die vrae te lees, om 'n breë oorsig oor die teksinhoud en die fokus van die vrae te kry. Okay. So that is when you just quickly read through the questions and then the text as well, just to see what the text is about and what is the main focus in the questions. But soeklees is om vinnig deur die teks en die vrae te lees, om spesifieke inligting na aanleiding van vrae te identifiseer en notas in die kantlyn te maak. Okay. So soeklees is when you quickly go through the text, but you're looking for something specific. So you read the question and the question asked who wrote the text, and then you go read the text, but you're just looking at who wrote it. So you're searching for that, okay? And then you make notes on the sidelines as well. Okay, dan vlug lees die vraag. Dit sal jou 'n idee gee na watter inligting jy moet soek wanneer jy die teks vir die tweede keer lees. Let byvoorbeeld op na die volgende. Wie, wat, waar, wanneer en hoekom inligting. En dan instruksiewoorde as ook kernbegrippe wat hoë orde vrae impliseer. Okay. So now you have to go to the questions. Just quickly see what is the main focus there. What are they looking for? So when you go back to the text, that you know what you have to look for and what to underline and what notes to do. Please look at the who, what, where, when, and why things in the text, because that would most likely be a question. Okay, so please remember to do both of the types of reading, soeklees and vluglees. Okay, so those two really help you when you're doing a comprehension test, especially the soekleeg, when you're searching for something specific, because you already read the questions. So now you know what they're looking for. So use your colors. Okay, I see the theme of the comprehension is this, and then you underline or make little notes on the side. This is the theme. This is the, because when you actually go and answer the questions, it would be so much easier. So now we're at step 2. Okay, stap 2. Lees die teks nou vir die tweede keer en maak aantekeninge in die kantlyn terwyl jy lees. Okay, So it says that you have to read the comprehension now for the second time, and now you have to make notes on the sideline. Okay. Wanneer jy die teks vir die tweede keer lees, moet jy met begrip lees. Okay. So when you're reading this one for the second time, now you actually have to read with comprehension. You have to try to understand what you're reading. Then vra jouself gereeld of jy steeds verstaan wat jy lees. Indien jy die begrip verloor het, moet jy besluit waarom jy nie meer verstaan wat jy lees nie en regstellende stappe neem. Okay. So while you're reading, keep asking yourself, am I understanding what I am reading? Okay. So if you lose your track and you lose yourself understanding, then you can't go on. Then you have to go back and you have to think, okay, how am I going to read this so that I can understand? Okay. Then skryf in die kantlyn langs elke paragraaf die hoofgedagte van daardie paragraaf neer. Okay. So now, every paragraph that you read, next to it, just write a little summary or anything about the paragraph, what the paragraph is about, the main ideas and everything, just in short so that you can go back and say, oh, okay, this was this paragraph, let me go read it again. So that you don't have to go read the whole comprehension again. Then, onderstreep, glimmeer, inligting wat jy met die vraag in verband kan bring. Okay, so you read the questions. So now you're reading the text. If you see an answer there, highlight it or underline it so that you know it's there. Then, vra jouself ook gereeld die volgende vraag om te bepaal of jy in beheer van die teks is. Okay, so here's a set of questions that you have to ask yourself just to understand if you are in control of this text. You know what's happening and you are fine. Waarom sê die outeur iets op 'n spesifieke manier? Okay. Why does the writer say something in a specific manner? Okay. Because they may sometimes differ and then there's actually an underlining meaning that they want to get through. Hoe druk die outeur sy/haar ingesteldheid teenoor iets iemand uit? Okay. So the emotions, the expressions of the writer. Watter tipe styl gebruik die outeur? What type of style does the writer use? Wat is die toon wat die outeur gebruik? Okay. And then is dit wat geskryf is? Feite of mening en soek redes vir jou antwoord. Okay. So now then you have to go, is this what I'm reading someone's opinion or is it a fact? Okay. And then search why are you saying it's a fact and why are you saying that it is someone's opinion. Okay, so step 2 is really the most important part, and you have to be in control of the story and your reading, and you have to keep on asking yourself questions just to keep your mind at this comprehension, because it's very easy just to go and then when you are at the questions you can't remember what you read. Okay, so that is why you have to make notes. Okay, so you're thinking about what you just read. You made a note about what that paragraph is about. So you keep on keeping your mind busy and thinking about what you're reading. So you're interacting with this comprehension the entire time. As soon as you just go, no, I promise you won't be able to go and answer the questions. So make notes, use colors, just stay focused and underline and make circles and stars and a line here and then from a green bubble here to a purple bubble there, just to know that you are in control of this text and you're actually reading it with comprehension. Okay, and now we are at step 3 and that is answer the questions. Okay, wanneer jy 'n vraag lees, let veral op na die volgende. Okay, so when you're reading a question, think about these things. Punte toekenning. 'n Punte totaal by 'n vraag is gewoonlik 'n aanduiding van hoeveel feite jy in jou antwoord moet aanbied. Omkring dus elke keer vra wat meer as 1 punt tel. Okay, so when you're reading your questions, make sure that you look at the marks that are allocated to that specific question. Okay, so if it is 4 marks, you can't just write yes. Okay, so that means you have to say yes and why and give a quote out of the text. Okay, so when you see a question with more than 1 mark allocated, just make a circle around the question so that you know you have to answer multiple things. Okay, then it says, skenk aandag aan die stapelvraag. Hierdie tipe vraag vereis meer as een antwoord en tel gewoonlik 3 tot 4 punte. Sorg dat jy elke een van die afdelings van die vraag in dieselfde volgorde beantwoord. Okay, so it says, there is questions that need more answers. Okay, so a yes and a no, and a motivation, and a quote. Okay, but you have to make sure that you answer them in that specific order. If it says yes and no, then motivation, and then quote, you can't start with quote. Okay, soos, watter toepassings sou jy graag wou ontwerp om die lewe van 'n matrikulant te vergemaklik? Waarom sou jy hierdie toepassings as waardevol beskou en hoe sal jy die lewe van 'n matrikulant vergemaklik? Okay, so that is just one type of that type of questions. Okay, so that was important things that you have to know when answering a comprehension test. Please go write this down, memorize it, just when you know, because a comprehension test really counts so many marks and you don't just do it once a term. So if you can just get this right, I promise you'll get it. Okay guys, please take a little break now, do some exercises, and then when we come back, we're doing poetry. Okay, so now we're going to Posi Poetry. Okay, so here's a few things that you have to know about poetry. Okay, so the first one, 'n vers is een versreël. Okay, so a vers is just one little sentence in a poem. Then, 'n strofe bestaan uit 'n aantal versreëls. Okay, so this is more likely a paragraph. It has a lot of versreëls. Then, this is what you call them. Okay, so if one paragraph has only 2 versreëls, you call it a couplet. 3 versreëls, tersine. 4 versreëls, kwatryn. 5 versreëls, quintet. 6 versreëls, sestet. En 8 versreëls is 'n oktaaf. Okay, so how this would look in exam is, all the time, if you see a poem, they're going to ask you, how many versreëls and how many strophes? Remember, little lines for versreëls and then paragraphs for strophes. Okay, and then they can also ask you, in strophe 1, what type is it? Is it a couplet? Is it what? So learn that by heart. Then you just have to count how many versreëls there is, and then you know what type of name you should name it. Okay, now we get the rhyme. So, dit is die herhaling van eender se klanke. Okay, so it's the repetition of the same sound. So you get 2. You get halfrym en volrym. Okay, so let's see what's the difference. Halfrym, dit kom voor wanneer klanke binne die versreëls herhaal word. En volrym, dit kom voor wanneer woorde aan die einde van die versreëls rym. Okay, so halfrym is when words rhyme inside of the versreëls. Volrym is when only the last word in every versreel they rhyme. Okay, by halfrym, you get alliterasie en assonansie. Okay, so that is halfrym. Alliterasie is die herhaling van dieselfde konsonant in 'n versreel. Okay, staan, skaars, skouer, hoog. So it is s, s, s. Okay, so that is the repetition of a consonant in the versreel. Okay, then number 2 is assonansie, die herhaling van dieselfde vokaal in 'n versreel. Okay, so this is the repetition of the same vowel inside of the versreel. Hy gaap en gaan dan slaap. A, a, a. Okay, do you see it's the repetition of the A? And then, what is the function of the halfrym? Wat is die funksie van die halfrym? Dit is klanknabootsing, beklemtoning en skep atmosfeer. Okay. So now you know halfrym is inside of the versreels that it rhymes, and full-rym is the last words. Now, there's different types of rhymes. They all have names, and that is only when the last one rhymes. Okay, so pa-rym is a, b, b. Okay, so if it is the last word and the one underneath rhymes, and then underneath that is two more that rhymes. Okay. Omarmde rym is a, b, b, a. Kruisrym is a, b, a, b. Gebroke rym is a, b, c, d, a. Okay, so that one doesn't have a rhyme. There's isn't the second one that always rhymes, or the one at the bottom that rhymes. This one doesn't have a rhyme. Okay, en dan slagrym is a, a, a. Okay, so all of them are rhyming and they form a tempo. Okay, then they're always going to ask you what type of rhyme is it? Is it full rhyme or half rhyme? Okay, so remember that half rhyme is when it rhymes inside of the versreels. Okay, and full rhyme is when it's the last word. Okay, and remember, when it's half rhyme, you will always get assonansie and alliterasie. Okay, you have to learn that what type of rhyme is inside of the versreels. Okay, and then at full rhyme, there is different types of rhymes. Okay, so what it means is there's a line, a line, a line, a line. Is this word and the word just after that rhyming, then it's A, and then B, B, C, C. Okay, so the two directly under each other is rhyming. Okay, but there's others. If this one and skip one and this one rhymes, okay, so these two, okay, then you'd see it makes a little cross. Okay, so that is kruisrym. Okay, so you have to look at the lines, see. So start with line 1. Okay, I look at the last word. With what word is that one rhyming? Is it the one underneath? Is it the third one? What is it? And then you can determine what type. Okay, now we get to the title, die titel. Is dikwels die sleutel tot die inhoud van die gedig. Okay, so the heading, the title, is most likely the key to the information in the poem. Dit verklaar die inhoud, okay, so it tells you what's happening in the poem. En dit ondersteun die kern en vat die kerngedagtes saam, okay. So they are just getting the main ideas and then just putting them all together in the heading. Okay, so now you get an enjambement. Dit is wanneer een versreel sonder enige leestekens in die ander versreel oorgaan. Okay, so that is when one line or one sentence goes into another one without any like full stops or a comma or anything like that. Okay, so it's basically then one sentence, but it's in different lines. What is the function? Dit versag die rym, beïnvloed die tempo en ritme. Okay, so it makes the rhyme more soft, and then it takes on the tempo. So you can't read it, you're reading it much faster than you would if there was a full stop or a comma. Bevorder vloeiendheid en dui op beweging. Okay, so it show movement. So it's just flowing. Dit dien as bindmiddel tussen versreëls en strofes. Okay, so that it just means that they're combining the paragraphs and then the sentences. Okay, then you get wending. Dit is wanneer daar 'n verandering of omkeer in die gedig voorkom. Okay? Die teenstellende voegwoord maar dui dit dikwels aan. Okay, so that is when the writer says, so that is why people are nasty. But that maar, so he's going to justify what he just said, or just say something the complete opposite. So they say that's why people are nasty, but we still love them. Okay, so he's just playing with two sentences. Okay, so if you look at a poem, always start with the title so that you know what's going to come. What are you going to read next? Okay, so the title will always tell you a little bit about what you're going to read inside of the poem. And then enjambement is very important. Always check. If you see a full stop, then you know. Okay, that was one sentence. Now it's the next one. Okay, enjambement is when two sentences are joined without a full stop or a comma or something. So it would be two lines that just go on with each other without a stop, without a full stop or a comma. Okay, so you will just read na, 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 without taking a breath. Okay, so that is enjambement. Okay, learn that. Okay, now we get to beeldspraak. Okay, so there is a lot of things under beeldspraaks, but in the questions, they would most likely just tell you what type of beeldspraak is in the poem. So the first one would be a metaphor, a metafoor. Stel twee sake wat met mekaar verband hou gelyk aan mekaar. Okay, so they taking two things and then just combining them that they are the same. Okay, but this words is not in when you use a metaphor. Soos, nes en net soos. Okay, so you don't use soos, nes en net soos. Okay. Byvoorbeeld, die meisie se spaghetti hare staan woes. Okay. So they're taking her hair and spaghetti and they making as if it's the same thing, but they're not using soos, nes of net soos. Okay, so they're saying she has spaghetti hair. Okay. But then you get a vergelyking. Okay. Twee sake word met mekaar vergelyk. Okay, yet again, two things are put together, but this time the words soos, nes en net soos must be there. Okay. Die meisie se hare lyk soos spaghetti. Okay. So the metaphor does not have soos, nes en net soos, but the vergelyking has soos, nes en net soos. Then you get personification. Okay. As daar menslike eienskappe aan natuurverskynsels, abstrakte en lewenslose dinge gegee word. Okay. So that is when human attributes or things that we can do is given to either a natural thing or lifeless things. Okay. Byvoorbeeld die rotse fluister. Okay. So a rock is singing. So humans can sing, okay, but a rock can't. So we're giving a lifeless thing a human attribute. Die honde lag vir mekaar. Okay, so the dogs are laughing at each other. Okay, so dogs can't laugh. Okay, but people can. Okay, so that is personification. Okay, so metafoor, vergelyking en personifikasie is all three part of beeldspraak. Okay, so they're not going to ask you, is there a metaphor in the poem? No, they're going to ask you what type of beeldspraak is there. You have to know that it's metaphor, vergelyking en personification. Okay, comparison. Okay, so remember the difference between a metaphor and a comparison is metaphor does not have soos, net soos of nes in, but the comparison has. But it still compares two things to each other, just without the word soos, and the other one has soos. Okay. And then personification is personal. Okay. It's things that we can do. We can breathe. But we can't say the rock had a fright. Because a rock can't have a fright. Why? It doesn't have a heart, doesn't have feelings. Okay. So that is when you give personal attributes to a non-living thing, or you can do it to a dog. It can't laugh or something like that. Please learn that as well. Okay, now you get your thema, your theme of the poem. Kern van 'n gedig. Okay, so this is the core of a poem. Boodskap in die gedig. The theme is also the boodskap that the writer wants to give to you. Okay, then you get retorische vraag. Okay, rhetorical questions. Those are also in poems a lot. Let's see what that is. Vraag waarop daar nie 'n antwoord verwag word nie. Okay, so this is questions that there aren't any answers to. Okay, so if I ask you a question and I don't actually want an answer, that is a rhetorical question. Okay, what is the doel? Om die leser te betrek en te laat dink. Okay, so this lets the reader feel part of the poem and then just let them think a bit. Okay, like, dink jy dit was vir my lekker? Okay, do you think I liked that? Nobody, I don't want someone to tell me yes, because I don't want an answer. Okay, then sintuiglike waarneming, that is your senses. Die digter skryf wat hy sien, hoor, ruik, voel en beleef. Okay, so the writer writes down what he sees, he hears, he smells, he feels, what he feels. Soms word meer as een sintuig gebruik om iets waar te neem. Okay, sometimes more than one sense is used to describe something. Okay, so these are the things that a good writer use in a poem just to keep their audience or the reader just to get their attention and keep their attention. Okay, so the theme of a poem is really important just to know what is the feel about it and what's going to happen and stuff like that. And then you get a rhetorical question. That's just to keep you interacting with this poem. Okay, you're going to think about it, because if someone said, ek is nie so lelike mens nie, or something like that, you're going to think about it. Okay, but was this person actually really mean? Or okay, so you're just interacting with the poem. And then a writer also uses their senses just to write the poem, and just to give you, the reader, just the chance to just make a picture in your head and just see exactly what this guy saw and felt and smelled. Okay, now we have the digforme, your poetry forms. Vrye vers. Okay, so that's free verse. Okay, gedig waar die versreëls en strofes onreëlmatig is. Okay, so that is when the paragraphs and the sentences and everything is just whatever they want. They don't follow a specific rule. Then blanke vers, gedig sonder rym. Okay, so that is when there's a poem that does not have rhyme. Then 'n ballade, 'n verhaal in digvorm. Sterk gevoel soos liefde, jaloesie ensovoorts. Okay, so a ballade is when it is a story in a poem format. Okay, and it has a strong feelings like love, jealousy, etc. Then there's a volkslied, gevoel van vaderlandsliefde. Okay, so that is when it is your homeland or your country. Sonnet. Sonnet bestaan uit 14 versreels. Okay, so always when you see 14 sentences in a poem, just know that it is a sonnet. Okay, so they're definitely going to ask you what type of poem this is in a whole. Okay, so you must know what is a vrije vers and what is the attributes about it that is in this poem. Okay, so then you must say it's a ballade or a sonnet or a vrije vers, but you have to know what each of them are to allocate it to a specific poem. Okay, now we're going to do a poem together. Okay.
Bak op, zet jou goedjies op jou kop. Môre gaan ons weg, ver van die weg. Skip, 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 skip. Wanneer hou die dinge op? Swaar kry lê net voor, die blou berge oor. Oeverbergse mens, is ek gebore. Op die plek skip, skip, nes by pa en sy pa oor. Die deur die duine, loop ons spore. Hier op die beach, hier langs die see, is ek gedood. Maar wat ken ek anders, as die blauwdamse brande, die wolke en die winde, wat heel wyd. Verkoop jou bootjies, bak op jou goedjies, sê maar so lang, skip, 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 sê goodbye. Linkerhand, of die regterhand, wat se kant lê die plekke, misverstand, asseblief, meneer, ag, sê toch weer, is dit die pad wat ons môre vat, 'n stukkie lê hier, en 'n stukkie lê daar. Die stukkies van my lewe, hulle lê baie die mekaar. Tel op, vir shorty en vir pop. Gaan nou vir Appie en hou die kinkie hiertoe. Maar wat ken ek anders, as die blauwdamse brande, die wolke en die winde, wat die wyd. Verkoop jou bootjies, bak op jou goedjies, sê maar so lang, skip, 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 sê goodbye. Oh, skip, 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 sê goodbye.
Okay, so that was the poem, but somebody made it a song as well. So the person that sang is Teens Jordan, so he's a famous Afrikaans singer, and he made this poem a song as well. But the person that wrote the poem is David Kramer. Okay, so let's analyze the poem. Okay, so you heard the poem. Here it is. I'm not going to read it again. Okay, so now we're going to analyze it. So let's start with the heading, the title. So long skipskop. So in Afrikaans or in English, it's so long means goodbye. Okay, so the title, 'n manier van groet. Hulle klink hartseer. Hulle wil nie gaan nie. Sorry for the B. So these guys are saying goodbye, but they're not. If you say so long, you don't actually want to go. So they're sad as well. Then you get the first one, pak op, pak op. Okay, so they're telling you what to do. You have to pack up. Okay. Sit jou goedjies op jou kop. Okay, goedjies. Okay, so it's in the verkleining. So that means they don't have a lot. So you don't have goedjies if you have a lot. You don't have much. Môre gaan ons weg. Ver van hier weg. Skipskop, skipskop. Wanneer hou die dinger op? Swaar kry lê net voor. Okay, so that says that hulle lewens word nie beter nie. So their life isn't getting better. Okay. Die blou berge oor. Okay, so that's alliterasie B. Die blou berge, BB. Okay. Oeverbergse mense. Okay, so Oeverberg is 'n streek in die Kaap. So it's a place in the Cape. Is ek gebore. Okay, so that from the 7 till 9, it's an enjabement because can you see there's no full stop or a comma or something like that. So it's one sentence that flows into each other. Okay. Then you get a sir. Okay, and that's how people talk in Cape Town or something. So it's a manner how they speak. Okay. And then is op die plek skipskop. Nes my pa en sy pa ook. Okay, so that means that both of his father and his father lived in Skipskop. Hier deur die duine, there deurie, you can see again how the people talk. Loop ons spore, that ons as well. Hier op die beach, langs die see is ek gedope. Okay, so the place where you got baptized or gedoop, okay? So that must be a special place for you. So this means that is a special place for this person as well. Hy het sentimentele waarde aan die plek. Maar wat ken ek anders as die blou dam se branders, die wolke en die winde wat hier waai. Okay, then we get the rest of the poem. Okay, verkoop jou bootjie, pak op jou goedjies. Okay, so a person that has a boat, okay, is normally a fisherman. So if he has to pick up his stuff and leave, it means that he has to sell his business as well. So he must give up his business. Visserman moet besigheid opgee. En sê maat so lank skipskop. Skipskop sê goodbye. Linkerhand of die regterhand. Okay. So that means they don't know which side to go. Must they go to the right or to the left? They don't know where to go. Weet nie watter kant toe nie. Watse kant lê die plek misverstand? Okay? So they're asking, where is the place misverstand? So misverstand is then a dorp, a place's name. Okay. Asseblief meneer, agge sê tog weer. Is dit die pad wat ons moet môre vat? Okay, so that those 'n stukkie lê hier en 'n stukkie lê daar. Die stukkies van my lewe, hulle lê baie de mekaar. Okay, so he's saying that his life is in pieces and these pieces are everywhere. Okay, so that says die persoon se lewe lê heeltemal stukkend. This person's life is in pieces. Okay, so he's sad about that. Tel op, shorty en verpop. Okay. So if you mean, so those are people, shorty and pop, so it must be someone's name. And if you want to pick them up, it means that must be a child because you're not going to pick up a grown man. So, but it's not in capital letters because it's the name of a child, but it's not in capital letters. Kinders se name word met klein letters geskryf. Die persoon is ongeletterd. Okay, so that person is not literate because those names aren't in capital letters. Gaan haal vir Apie en hou daai kindjie dop. Maar wat ken ek anders as die blou dam se branders? Die wolke en die winde wat hier waai. Verkoop maar jou bootjie, pak op jou goedjies. Sê maar so long skipskop sê goodbye. Okay, so that's a repeat from the first one. So I think this is the final greeting. This is the final, okay, bye skipskop. So this person is leaving this place. Okay, so this is how you have to analyze a poem. So just go through every single verse and just check what are you seeing in that specific sentence. What can you analyze? Because they're not talking to you directly. So they're going to say something and you have to kind of realize what they're trying to say to you. So just think broad and think outside of the box when you read this, just to see what they mean in a poem. Okay, guys, that was it. I really hope that you understand the poetry, because that was kind of the hardest one. But that's literally just going learning the terms and then just know what each of them means so that you can identify them in a poem. Okay, so every poem they're going to ask you almost all of these things. So please just go learn them. Please join the Q&A after this. And then ask me any questions, anything that you didn't understand, any suggestions that you might have, and then I'll see you in the Q&A.